There's a phrase that I like to use when people talk about losing weight through rowing, and that's that you can't out-train your fork. Well, today I'm going to try and out-train my fork because I've got a real soft spot when it comes to cookies, especially white chocolate chip cookies from a shop called Marks & Spencer's in the UK. Oh man, they're amazing. However, they're also 319 calories each, very precise with the 19. So today, the row that we're going to do together is I'm going to row until I burn 319 calories off according to the Concept 2 monitor, and you're going to row along with me. Now, as long as you do round about the same kind of intensity as me, you're going to burn round about the same amount of calories, okay? Depending on whether you are working the same amount as me or whether you are lighter than me or heavier than me, it's going to be slightly off. And of course, the Concept 2 monitor is all based on an average calculation anyway. But you're going to get round about there. So if you do this row along with me, then you'll effectively have burnt off a cookie, okay? Right, so we have to start off with a warm-up first though, and that's not going to count to our calorie burn. So we're going to do a 4-minute warm-up, then we're going to burn off our cookie. So we have to set up the machine first, and on the Concept 2, please set your drag factor first. If you don't know about drag factor, I do have a video up here on the channel, but you might want to set it between 120 and 130. If you're not on a Concept 2, set the resistance to a point where you get a nice feeling from the stroke, but you don't have to heave against it, okay? You're not Popeye. Next up, go to your monitor, and if you can, set it to eye height so you don't have to look up and you don't have to look down. And finally, get to those pesky foot straps and set them to a height, or the foot stretchers to a height, where you're able to come to the front of the machine with your shins pointing vertically, okay? If they are set too high, you can kind of get bound up because the strap catches too high up. If they're set too low over your toes, you might go scooting straight past that vertical position, and that causes hyperextension and power leaks and dogs to marry cats, and oh man, just don't do it. Okay, so 4-minute warm-up. Intensity-wise, we're just going to ease ourselves into this. Just think about a push with the legs and get the timing right, that you pick the handle connects to your machine at the same time as you push with your feet, and then we'll worry about power. All right, here we go. In 3, 2, 1, let's go. Now I'm going to do this round about 18 strokes a minute so that it's slow enough to concentrate on what I'm doing in terms of coming into the front, making sure I'm in the right position so that as I push, my feet, my hands connect the handle to the flywheel at the same time. Now that position is a forward tilt over your hips and straight arms, okay? And that forward tilt over your hips is quite important rather than being rounded and slumped. And then if you have rolled forwards far enough for your shins to be in a vertical position, then as you push your legs, you should be in a good position to connect your hands to the machine at the same time. And then it's just about timing. And so if you've got that timing right, think about putting, especially, yeah. Putting in a bit more power, maybe take it up to 2k plus 20 pace if you know your 2k training pace. And if you don't know your 2k training pace, then all you have to do is row a 2-kilometer time trial, 2,000 meters as fast as you can, and divide the resulting time by 4. So if you did it in 8 minutes 40, then that would give you a result of 2 minutes 10. And that's your 2k training pace. So when I say 2k plus 20, you would row at 2 minutes 30 pace. Right, one more stroke, and let's put one foot on the ground and continue rowing. Of course, all this pacing thing really only works if you have a rowing machine that shows your speed as your current speed to cover 500 meters. If you have something else, I'm afraid you're going to have to try and work it out from an intensity point of view. How hard does it feel? Let's swap legs. So I will describe today's main session as a 2k plus pace, but I'll also tell you kind of how it should feel from an effort out of 10. But that's really not an accurate way to talk about pace. So I do recommend, if you can, and if it's safe for you to do it medically, that you do a 2K time trial. Last stroke here, put both legs in and just row with your back and arms. So you swing your back over your hips first, and that's what picks up the power of the flywheel initially, and then you pull in your arms. Then out with your arms, then rock back over your hips again. It's a really important part of the rowing stroke that your back picks up the power first. Last one here, and let's roll to the front with arms straight, forward tilt, and push out with your legs. Not too heavy. I don't want you to have to recoil. Whatever. Okay, so you hold this position. If you push too hard, your back's going to want to flick backwards to take the momentum. So just hold this forward lean and arms straight so you're used to how it feels. Let's do one more as we hit 0. Right. So, have a quick drink, do some light rowing or some stretching while I quickly explain how we're going to do today's row. Okay then, so what we're doing today is we're going to row until I burn off 319 calories according to the Concept 2 monitor. Now I've also got my Apple Watch running, and that will tell me in terms of my body and all that stuff exactly how many calories I've burnt. So it'll be interesting to see when Concept 2 tells me I've burnt exactly what my watch tells me I've burnt, which should be a little bit more accurate. Anyway, how we're going to do it is we're just going to do this. We're going to sit at 20 strokes a minute and at 2K plus 18 pace the whole way. We're going to go for that low intensity. You may have read that these low intensity, low heart rate sessions are the best for fat burning and all that kind of stuff. I'll talk about that during the main session, but that's how we're going to do it today, okay? So I did say that I was going to give you the 2K pace, which is 2K plus 18 seconds, but from an intensity out of 10 point of view, this is going to be round about 5 or 6 out of 10, right? Where 1 out of 10 is you sitting on the couch eating a bag of crisps watching the television, and 10 out of 10 is you absolutely eye bulging, going as fast as you can, you lie on the floor at the end of it, okay? So 5 to 6 out of 10, you're still working, but you're not working that hard. You're going to be slightly out of breath, your heart rate's going to be up to round about 65 to 75% of its maximum. You're going to know that you're working, but you're not going to be tired. It's going to be keeping you down at that, what they call the fat burning zone in terms of intensity, okay? If you want, I mean, you can go faster if you want. That's how I'm going to row. And if you want to try and do it with me in that sense, and that's what we're going to do. So, yeah, that's it. So what I'll do is I've got my monitor set to calories, which is going to be quite confusing. So I'm going to have to look at Ergzone to see exactly what my pace is. And I will give you kind of rundowns in terms of how far through I am. The good thing is you're going to know how long it lasts anyway, because obviously when I go into post-production and put this together, I'm going to stick a timer up and you'll go, all right, it's only going to take him X amount of minutes. So it's kind of spoiler alert. Anyway, you ready for this then? Let's go. So 20 strokes a minute, 2K plus 18 pace in 3, 2, 1, and we're off. Now what's going to be interesting is I'm actually going to do 4 or 5 strokes as that intensity thing. I'm just going to think, right, this feels like it should be, yeah, around about 5 or 6 out of 10 from an effort point of view. Then if I look down at Ergzone, well, I'm about 2 seconds slower than I'd ordinarily want to row this kind of a session at. So it just shows how actually trying to do a perceived effort, it just isn't really an accurate way to gauge how much effort you're putting in, because your brain is, well, even your body is different from day to day, how it feels. So one day I may sit down and feel super strong, and my 5 or 6 out of 10 will have me at like 2K plus 16 pace. Then another day I'll maybe feel a bit sluggish, not very happy, and I might be down at 2K plus 22 pace. Whereas if you do your 2K time trial to set the training pace that your body is currently capable of, that's much more accurate, and it's not going to be defined by how you feel that day. So we're just over 2 minutes in, and I've just passed 32 calories. So this is going to be quicker than I thought, according to the Concept 2 monitor. I was thinking that this 300 calorie row would take about half an hour, but provided things go the way they're going, it's only going to take about 20 minutes. Should have eaten more cookies. I mean, I do like to take care of myself. I mean, trying to eat sensibly during the week. Don't drink alcohol, and no sugary drinks. Even my coffee, I just take black with vanilla flavoring nowadays. But I'm not an Olympic athlete or even an athlete training for peak performance, or a model or a film actor about to take his shirt off, or even a rower about to take his shirt off. You're not going to see that either. So it means that if I want to treat myself at the weekend and have a cookie, I'll let myself. Now the downside, well, not downside, the danger is either overdoing those treat days and having loads and loads of high calorie, not particularly nutritious food, and basically offsetting your entire week's good work. Or that you think that you can out-train what you're eating. Because although I'm matching the calories consumed from the cookie today by what I'm doing rowing wise, there's also just the nutritional aspect of it. Putting in simple sugars into your system, it's not particularly good for you. So if you have too many, then you can find your body reacts in ways you don't expect. Like, I know if I have too much sugar, like refined sugars, then the next day I feel really sluggish and almost stiff. And it really is something that only happens when I have too much sugar. I do wonder whether there's a kind of a underlying if I overdo things, I could become type 2 diabetic, but I'm not a doctor, so I don't know that. I'm just thinking, I wonder if that's the case. I wonder if that's why I feel so sluggish the next day. Anyway, sorry, that's a bit of a huge intro to today's row. Rather than cracking straight into technique. But I figured the warm-up actually, I covered two of the most important parts of the rowing stroke, which are that the power is generated from the legs pushing into the machine. Push. And that for the first half of the stroke anyway, the point of your technique is to get that leg drive powerfully and efficiently into the machine. So when I talk about technique, sorry, my brain just switched off there. If you wonder where I went for a few strokes, I didn't talk, my brain went pew. So the reason to talk technique is to make sure you get that power into the machine efficiently, and by that I mean you're not wasting power, but also safely in terms of injury prevention and making sure that the muscles you want to be worked are getting worked. And by that I mean, you may have read somewhere that the rowing machine is the perfect exercise because it's an almost all over body workout. 85% of your muscles will get used on a rowing machine. Yes, but that should really say could or should, but it's not always the case. For instance, if you've spent your entire previous rowing workouts not thinking about pushing with the legs and getting that power in from your lower body, if you've only ever really thought about it as a pulling with the arms and that the legs are just there to move you backwards and forwards, so there's a really good chance that you've been missing out on 50% of your body. And your your legs and your backside contain more muscles, or more muscle mass at least, than the rest of your body. So if you are not getting that push of the legs, you'll be getting nowhere near that 85% of your body. Okay, so I've just passed 163 calories on the Concept 2 monitor. Let's quickly check in with my watch. 1 second. Oh, come on. I've got some kind of an error message up. Oh, 1 second, caller. Come on. All right. The watch says 139 calories, I think. Come on. Oh, come on. Turn on. 119, it's saying. So, saying 119 active calories. So that means just from the exertion of the row, I've burnt 119 calories. And then 140 calories is because just being alive for the past 12 minutes means I'll have burnt another 20 calories. And that's part of where your calorie calculations can go a little bit awry. So the concept 2 said 160 because it's based on an average weight person, not actually me. Then one reading said 140 calories on my watch, whereas the actual calories burnt is only 119. So that's what, 40, difference of 40 calories between my actual calorie burn and what the Concept 2 monitor is claiming. And you can see how over time that could cause an issue where if you're using the Concept 2 for calorie counting, we will see what the difference is as the Concept 2 passes 320, and then we can work out just what that deficit would be, like over an hour worth of rowing, or 5 or 6 sessions where you're thinking that you've worked hard enough to burn off, that you've out-trained your indulgence, whereas actually I think I'm going to be close to 100 calories different, maybe 80, as Concept 2 passes 320, which is why I'm actually going to continue on and wait until my watch says that I've burnt 320 active calories, so I know I'll be a lot closer to actually offsetting that yummy yummy cookie. The danger is there's a wee bag, 5 cookies for, I don't know what it is, £1, £2, and they're just so tempting. You see them sitting there and you're like, oh, it's just a bag of cookies, but they're so Moorish, taste amazing, especially as a post-dinner treat. We had a lovely gnocchi with pancetta last night, and those cookies were calling to me afterwards, and that's why I'm burning off the cookie today. So I really am taking my time with the technique thing today, going round in circles a bit, but hopefully if you hadn't really thought about the leg drive before, my talking about it previously and explaining that it's all about the push of the legs, which then utilizes your quads, your hamstrings, your glutes, your hip flexors, but also your core gets a good workout because it has to brace against that push of the legs in order to send the power from your legs up through your body, through your shoulders, hands, into the handle, and into the machine. And that happens because you have straight arms as you come in, and you do not pull on the handle, okay? If you look in the mirror and see yourself grabbing, picking up the weight of the handle by pulling with your arms, really do try to think about nice, straight, relaxed arms as you push. And then you keep those arms straight, and you keep that forwards tilt over your hips as you push. And that is how the power from your legs goes up through your chain into the handle, into the machine, from just your legs. And then when those legs are halfway through the drive, that's when you swing your back from the forward tilt into the backward lay back. So you're just going from a 1 o'clock tilt in at the front to an 11 o'clock on the clock face tilt at the back. That's all you need to do. And that swing from 1 to 11 adds in more power, but also that swing recruits a lot of muscles, again through your core, and I guess through your back as well. Then as you start that swing, that's when you finally pull your arms into a finish. So you stay nice and straight through most of the stroke. Well, here goes. Straight pull. Straight pull. Really does make a difference to keep your arms relaxed, or at least braced against the power, but not grabbing and pulling the handle. You should be hanging off the handle as though you were hanging from a pull-up bar with your feet off the ground. All right, 319 calories according to concept 2, only 214 according to my watch. So we'll keep going, and I figure that means we're going to get close to the real sweet spot for a row at this intensity, stroke rate and pace. The 30 minutes at 20 strokes per minute, 2K plus 18 pace workout is one that you will see everywhere, or certainly from people with a well-rounded training program. you may be used to CrossFit style workouts, which are really more about power, speed, rather than doing long, slow rows. So they'll either be short Tabata sessions or like a 5K time trial where you're going as fast as you can for 5,000 meters. But I don't often see 30 minutes at 20 strokes a minute and 2K plus 18 at the CrossFit Games. It'd be funny if you did though. They all rock up to be told what to do. They'll be like, what? So yes, today's a recovery row. You get, well, Matt Fraser doesn't compete anymore. Say, Tia Clooney or Brooke Wells, is it? See them in the ladies competition going, what? 30 minutes, 20 strokes a minute. But as a low intensity workout where you need to put in effort and power to get that heart rate up to between 65 and 75% of your maximum heart rate, but not so much intensity that it takes you past that. The benefits of a 30-minute 20 stroke per minute 2K plus 18 or 5 to 6 out of 10 row are huge for your base foundation fitness development. 250 calories according to my watch, to give you a chance to work on your technique so that you can improve how you're putting the power in, thinking about pushing with the legs, only pulling at the back. But these low heart rate workouts you'll see everywhere are kind of recommended as the fat burning workout. Low heart rate, low intensity, just kind of burns away that fat rather than the fast stuff that goes straight for your instant fuel and doesn't really tap in as much at the time to your fat stores. However, interval training, like high intensity interval training, if you do the right kind of session, you can burn exactly the same amount of calories as this low intensity session. And actually, what you'll tend to find is that the afterburn of a HIIT session, and that means when you stop rowing and your body is still recovering, it continues to burn fat. Whereas these low intensity long workouts, they don't really. There'll be some thermal effect afterwards, but not as much as a HIIT session. So you can get a similar calorie burn in a lot shorter time with a HIIT session. But, and here's the rub, if all you ever did was a low intensity row like this, or HIIT sessions, eventually your body will adapt and get used to it and know how to fuel your body for the workout in a much more efficient way. And although you'll continue to burn calories, you won't burn as many as you did when you first started. So say you did 3 months worth of this row. Today you're going to burn around about 300 calories-ish. Come back to it, keep on doing it for 2 months, and then by the end of those 2 months, chances are your body has worked out how to use its fuel more efficiently, and you'll only have burnt 290 calories. Not a huge difference, must be said, but if you're right on the kind of front line of calorie counting to lose weight, that can make a huge difference over time. That's, say, over 30 workouts, that's 300 calories. So what I'm saying then is mix it up. Do long, slow rows like this, but also short HIIT workouts. And that way you keep your body guessing and it can't adapt and reduce the calorie burn through efficiency. It always has to just scramble to give you the energy that you need, keeping that fat burn up. And also you'll be building muscles and refining your blood system, both of which increase your metabolism, so you burn more calories just during the day, sitting down. Your basal metabolic rate will go up. So instead of burning 2,000 calories a day just by being alive, suddenly you're burning 2,200 because you've gained muscle and have a more powerful cardio system. Where are we? 305 calories as we pass the half hour. So I figure another minute or so of this row and I'll have hit my 320 active calorie burn according to my watch, which, like I say, because it's based on my details, my heart rate, my body weight, my height, it's a lot more accurate than the concepts you monitor. Where are we? 312. Almost there. Let's see if we can get it done before 31 minutes. 314. Maybe not. Let's take a look after this one. 315. Nah. Few more strokes. It's definitely a different way to gauge how long to row, isn't it? Well, didn't turn on, come on. 319. Well, 320 by the time I took that last stroke. There you go. So, burnt off a cookie, according to my watch anyway. So, concept 2 says 485 calories. Watch, active calories, 322. So that's 160 calorie difference. across that row. So that's basically half of what we're aiming for, that the Concept 2 was wrong by, according to how it calculates it versus me. So that's half a cookie. So had I continued that row for the full hour, got to figure Concept 2 is going to be saying ballpark 1,000 calories maybe, actually let's give it the benefit of the doubt, 900 calories say. Whereas this would have said, say 600 calories. Or yeah, say about 600. So that's an entire cookie difference that it got it wrong, the Concept 2 versus this. And so if I was trying to out-train my fork, if I was trying to sit down here and say, right, I'm going to row until I burn 600 calories so that I've burnt off 2 cookies that I had when I indulged last night, I'd be out by a factor of a cookie almost. And then I'd be sitting there going, why am I still putting on weight? And it's because using that is slightly wrong. And again, the difference between active calories on here was 320, whereas total calories was 380. So this was still 60 calories different just because I was alive. Okay, anyway, right, let's get into cool down. I don't want to get into all this stuff and bore you with all that stuff. Let's cool down first, I'll bore you afterwards. So, cool down is going to be basically the same as in terms of intensity as the warm up. So just push with the legs, connect with the arms, let your heart rate come down. So in 3, 2, 1, go. Just pick an intensity and a stroke rate that you know you can just ease yourself into a nice cool state, okay? So you don't want to be going full guns because it's a cool down, but you also don't want to be just tickling the machine where you're not really putting in enough effort to make it a cool down. So really you just want to make sure you've got the tension between your legs and your arms as you push. Connect your arms to the machine, feel that power flowing in. And take that time to work on the timing between the foot press and the arms picking up the handle. Sometimes that timing can be down to your body position, where if you don't have that forward tilt into the front, if you come in and you're backwards, what tends to happen is your knees go way past, or shins go way past that vertical, and you can't push in at the right time. You'll see this, listen, if you look in the mirror and this, you can see this is how you're rowing, please do that, okay? And push out the front, because that constant backward lean, the hyperextension that goes onto your knees as you come forwards due to it, the load that goes into your lower back from doing it, the jolt your arms take as you have that backwards snap, all of them can lead to injury. And you're not getting the power, you're not getting the workout that it's designed to be. So that kind of a stroke is even worse when it comes to calorie burn. So when that said 450 calories because it had been rowing for 31 minutes and whatever, because you're doing that, you're not using your full body. Yes, you're still rowing for 31 minutes and things, and yes, if you're not going as fast, the readout will be slightly different. I'm not saying that you don't still burn calories, but because you're not using your legs and you're not using your back and things, you're missing out on the real work that your body can do when rowing. So all these things come together where don't trust the numbers here. Try and get something that has a heart rate strap monitor thing. Even the heart rate connected to the Concept 2 doesn't make a difference because it's still based on you being a 75 kilogram male, I think, or 85. Anyway, so there's all these things. So if you are counting calories and trying to row off food, it's just a little bit dangerous. Anyway, right, sorry, I should have gone straight into a stretching spiel first. So if you have space, time, energy, climb off the machine, and Stretching John has just appeared, and he will take you through a series of stretches to stretch off your hamstrings, your quads, your hip flexors, your glutes, your shoulders, your biceps, your forearms, your triceps. I always miss one. Did it? Back? Did I say back? Oh, whatever. Yeah, yeah. So he'll take you through all of them, round about 30 seconds per stretch. All depends how long I waffle for on this outro. I basically just recorded the entire thing and then I time compress and expand it depending on how long it takes me to say goodbye. So sometimes you'll see that he's a little bit like Benny Hill, because he's going a little bit too fast because I'm too quick. Sometimes, well, actually no, I don't think I've ever had to slow it down. He's never had to go into slow-mo before, like the Matrix. Anyway, right. Sorry, this is when I should have had my little rant about talking about the difference between the technique thing, but because I'd finished off that one on that way. So I think this is a good idea. All right. Again, please leave me some kind of a comment. Let me know if I pick something like, I don't know, what should I do next? Like a Snickers, and say row off a Snickers, row away a Snickers, or row away a Nando's or a McDonald's or whatever. I could do that, and that way I'll give you like a kind of a reason. Row away a beer, and see what it takes. This is the kind of the effort that it would take if you're going to have just even one cookie, one Snickers, one bottle of beer. This is what you have to do on the rowing machine in order to offset it. And again, remember, it's not really that even a scale because of the whole nutrient content and what it does to your body and all that stuff. There's something to be said, of course, for calories being like nuts, really high calorie foods, but actually you don't digest all of the nuts that go in to your body. So a lot of them just pass straight through, and so if a single nut says it has, I don't know, 10 calories, maybe you only digest 8 of those calories. The other 2 are, so this is the thing about using calories, which is why what I'd advise if you are exercising or whatever for weight loss is, yes, get on the scales by all means and kind of keep an idea of that. But do bear in mind that depending on the time of day when you weigh yourself, depending on whether you've been for a little visit to the lavatory, whether you've just had some water, whether you've still got food in your stomach from the night before, if you've overindulged or whatever, the readout on the scales can be massively deceptive. And in many ways, what you're best to do is weigh yourself every day, and then across the week, maybe take an average, or at least nothing else, track the ups and downs, so you can see the days when, oh, hang on, I'm weighing a kilogram heavier today. What happened there? And they can go, all right, it's because I didn't go for a pee first. Or whatever. I mean, that's a lot of, it must be said, that'd be, you'd be holding it in for quite a while if that happened. Yeah, so what I'd say is if you're rowing, let's get out the toilet. If you're rowing for weight loss, by all means use the scales, especially if, like in my case, I'm trying to get back down to that 165 lightweight weight before doing any kind of races and things. So I'll go and I'll weigh myself. I'll say around 166 where I need to watch myself, and then I'll come in and I'll make sure that I get back down to that 165 if I'm heavier than it. So there's reasons to give yourself, to actually check your weight. However, the 2 things I really would recommend are actually measure yourself, measure around your waist and see if you can just measure a difference, so you're actually losing fat around your waist. But also just look in the mirror. I mean, the difference it makes is looking in the mirror with your, before you have a shower, after you have a shower, and kind of, even in flattering light, so you actually, you like what you see. But the difference can be huge. I mean, when I was, 2 years ago, when I when lockdown happened, and I was like, oh, I drank and ate everything because I was like, it was the end of the world. When I then put on quite a lot of weight, for me anyway, when I then went through the process of going back into the 16/8 fast thing to try and kind of lose that weight and stuff, I'd hardly weighed myself. It was always based on the mirror. I'd kind of look and say, right, how am I looking today? And trust me, the mirror I use is one that had quite flattering light and things, so that as my body started to lose that fat and the muscles started to reappear and stuff, it was quite a flattering thing to look at. For me, not for you. And I kind of went, right, great, this is making changes. I can see the changes here. I'm starting to look better. And so because I was looking at myself improving and I could see the benefits and I was happy with what I was seeing, I then continued. Whereas if you go into your bathroom with harsh lighting and stuff and you stand there and you're like, I really don't like how this looks at all, no matter how much weight you're losing and things, then you'd stop looking at yourself in the mirror. So if you could, basically I'm saying from a motivational point of view, if you can see the changes and if you're happy with the changes, you're going to carry on wanting to make the changes, aren't you? That's really what I should have said instead of talking about me with my top off in front of a mirror, which again, you're never going to see. So anyway, that's the kind of, this is the unpacked, the kind of like first look at how you can do this kind of a row to look at how you're consuming food and whether it's a good idea or a bad idea to use exercise. Yes, exercise is a great thing, a great way to kind of add in that intensity, to kind of add some calorie burning things, but just don't rely solely on it. So don't go out, have a Big Mac and whatever and say, oh crikey, that's 1,300 calories I just burnt from eating a single burger. I'd better jump on the rowing machine. It's a dangerous way to look at it. Like I say, you can't out-train your fork. Yes, you can do things that will give you the numbers that give you the illusion that you've managed to offset. And in many ways, I kind of have. Like, figure I probably did burn off the energy consumed from that cookie, but there's more to it than that. There's like I say, there's how your body reacts to the nutritional side of it and all that kind of stuff. And it's also just the mismatch in numbers that you could be off. So right, I will continue to do this idea if it's interesting to you, along with my row like squash and row like swimming and row like golf and all that kind of stuff that's kind of training for, using the row machine to train to get better fitness for squash or better fitness for swimming. And all the other little things I do. So I'm just, basically what I'm doing right now is I'm doing these little standalone workouts, these kind of little fun little series and things, while I build my system back up after having the COVID in January. So this is why there isn't really a performance plan thing right now. If you're looking for a performance plan like 2K, 5K, 10K, 500 meters, do look at the playlists on this channel because they're all there, okay? I do have a 500, I've got two 2K plans, I've got 10K and a 500, did I say 500? 500, 5K, lots of plans. I've got 30 days, a 30-minute series. I've got 12 rows of Christmas, which you can do in March or July, whenever you got it, it's fine. So all that stuff is there, but right now I'm just doing a couple of wee standalone series just while I build myself back up, which is a good idea, if you ask me, because it means that you get a chance to do something like this rather than always being a focus on performance. It can get really quite tiring if you're always chasing that improved 2K or always chasing that improved 5K. So hopefully these things are kind of interesting and fun for you. Please let me know if you're enjoying them or not. I hope you are. Right, okay, I figure he's run about done, so I'm going to say goodbye. Thank you so much for burning off a cookie with me today. I will see you in another of the RowAlong workouts. Of course, today's hashtag is going to be cookie. What else would it have been? I will see you in another video. Stay safe, be well. Bye-bye.